what Tim Walz is accused of here, it's at least my understanding that breaking his enlistment contract, I think he still had 2 years to go on his contract, and then he claims he did that to run for Congress. The media wants the American people to believe that the commanders of this unit had no idea in advance that they were going to be deployed to Iraq. But that's not true, is it?
No, that's absolutely not true. And Mr. Walz actually admitted it in a campaign release, and I think it was on March 20th of 05, and I'm pretty sure it's out on CNN, where he filed for election on February 10th of 2005, filed to run for Congress. On the 17th of March, the warning order actually came out, and in all actuality, this rumor, so to speak, was out in fall of 04 for all the senior leadership in the States. He probably even knew it back then. But the warning order was actually published and distributed on 17th of March, according to the things that are out there now. I knew it was in March. I didn't know the exact date. But on the 20th of March, he put out a statement, and he literally, went through everything. I don't want to speculate on what shape my campaign will take if I'm deployed, but I have no plans to drop out of the race. Talked about his wife and his supporters and said both will be a major part of my campaign, whether I am in Minnesota or Iraq.
Right.
And 2 months later in May 16th, he retires. So, I mean, he knew, everybody knew, and, the media, and I can see their spin. They're trying to make it sound like he just happened to draw the lucky card and slipped out, just before anybody knew anything. Well, that's all a lie. I mean,
absolutely, sir. It's despicable. It's disrespectful. My father served 29 years in the Air Force. It speaks, I think, to Tim Walz's character. But retiring, quitting, abandoning his unit, however you want to frame that, that's not what seems to be the biggest issue. The biggest issue is the stolen valor, and that's lying about his rank and then claiming that he carried weapons of war in a war zone. Just two flat lies that the media wants to ignore. Can you talk about that and why that is such a big mistake?
Well, over the weekend, I came across the term military imposter, and that fits into a T. I mean, there's civilians that do that. They might put a uniform on and go downtown and, act like they're something that they're not. And that's literally what stolen valor is you're portraying yourself to be something that you aren't. And that's what he's done his whole career, just touting that he's a retired command sergeant major when he's not. This weapons of war thing, he was never in war. And, he's out there saying that. And then all of a sudden you have the Harris campaign says that he misspoke. Well, I'm a farmer from Minnesota. When somebody says they misspoke on something as serious as this, it's like he admitted he's a liar. That's a lie. I mean, that's what misspoke means to me. I mean, is the guy that, out of it, that he's speaking things and then they have to brush up behind him and say that, well, no, this is actually what he meant. I mean, that's just absolutely crazy.
Yeah, I think if he misspoke, I would give him the benefit of the doubt if it happened one time. The fact that we've got the receipts and he's been misspeaking since he ran for Congress nearly 20 years ago. There's a track record of misspeaking, which I call he's just been lying. It started with voters in Minnesota, and he's gotten away with it. You tried to make the newspapers and the press there locally in a very blue state aware of this. They didn't want anything to do with this story. Now you've got a national audience, Command Sergeant Major. Do you think that Tim Walz gets away with this again?
Oh, absolutely not. I think, the prairie fire is burning across the country, and I think he's finally, he could put his thumb on the newspapers and media in Minnesota, and I honestly think he wrote some of the pieces that were out there and sent them to them and said, well, okay, edit this and then publish it, because this is what I want you to put out there. I mean, he's in bed with the Star Tribune and NPR out there. I mean, they just got puff pieces on them. And, now that it's out, eventually maybe they'll finally say, well, yeah, I guess we screwed up. I'm not going to hold my breath for that one either. But on the national level now, I mean, everybody is seeing through all this and the lies are all coming to the surface. And we finally drug him out of the dark. He's in the light now. Everybody's looking at him and seeing his chameleon skin and realizing that, this guy's a liar and a fraud. And the 7 Army values, I mean, he is the opposite of every single one of them. And we do not want that as a person that's one step away from being commander in chief. I mean, It's just
Yeah.
absolutely disgusting.